Kia ora, everyone. I'm TNV, call me TJ. We also have Stephen, Daniel. We are from Computational Media Innovation Center, Victoria University of Wellington. We are presenting our paper in New Zealand. Our local time will be at 7 a.m. when presented. With thanks to all the online audiences and organizing committee of I2VR for this online presentation opportunity. This is one of the situations. To fix the problem on site, collaborators need to be in the same space with clear situational awareness of the worksite, communicate face-to-face, share information mutually, work together in live to solve the problem. The current video conferencing system has limitation to meet the requirement. Therefore, the people need travel. A long-hour flight costs travel time and money, produces carbon emission, may cause climate change. Also, it can cause health and safety issues. Human teleportation can be one of the solutions, but is still in the movie and fiction. It could be convenient to travel, but it can cause significant health and safety issues. We present augmented virtual teleportation, simply AVT, for remote workspace collaboration. Remote traveler will stay in their physical space, but will have full situational awareness in the worksite through live streaming 360 video shown in VR. Local host in AR will communicate face-to-face with 3D avatar of remote traveler overlaid into 360 camera. Collaborators work together in a high fidelity mixed reality collaboration space in live. VR-based collaboration provides a high sense of presence but limited in the virtual space. AR-based method is good to share information, but collaborators stay in their own space with limited situational awareness in the remote worksite. A symmetric setup that converges VR and AR can solve the limitation. The recent work based on the 3D point cloud provides a good solution that has limitation in situational awareness of surroundings and fidelity in live collaboration. 360 video-based method is promising to provide high situational awareness and visual fidelity in live. The recent wearable setup is good to share the view, but has limitation in face-to-face communication. As we are aware, AVT is the first unified system that assembles all the necessary components in one robust and also cost-effective framework to meet the needs for high-fidelity telecollaboration. Work together in live at a high-fidelity MR workspace while communicating face-to-face with remote situational awareness. I'll pass it over to Stephen for the detail.
Thanks, TJ. So as already presented, the system uses a 360-degree camera to teleport remote users to a different space. Once there, the users can interact with virtual objects augmented by the system into the real-world environment. Users can also use rays projecting from their controllers to clarify communication when pointing at objects. The space containing the users and virtual elements is called the Mixed Reality Collaboration Space, or more simply, the MRC space. Because the VR traveler requires the 360 video, camera to view the MRC space, we stream the 360 video directly to the VR traveler to ensure the lowest possible latency. Both users also use the 360 video to provide believable lighting and composition of virtual objects into the real world. The 360 video and MRC space is synced between the two users before rendering to their respective headsets. The VR traveler uses a VR headset, as seen in the top figure, to view the MRC space and can view the space through a live streamed 360 video. This gives the VR traveler full rotational freedom to view the MRC space. The AR host uses an AR head-mounted display to view the MRC space. We attach a Z-Mini camera to a headset to create a see-through head-mounted display. Through the headset, the AR host can see an avatar representation of the VR traveler, as seen in the bottom figure. The pose of the avatar is driven by the position and orientation of the VR traveler's headset and controllers. Inverse kinematics is used to calculate the arm poses. So once both users are in the system, Their spaces should be aligned so that the virtual objects appear at the correct location in space. This is done manually by matching the location of the VR traveler with the 360 camera. Real-world geometry scanned by the AR host is synced with the VR traveler. We also project the 360 video onto the geometry as when viewed by the VR traveler to give a sense of depth. Once aligned, users can start to use the system. The AR host computer is used to store the true state of the system with the virtual objects locations and how the physics are simulated. However, objects will be simulated on the VR traveler's computer whenever the VR traveler interacts with those objects to ensure a smooth interaction. We have also included two interface systems to handle different aspects of the system. The collaboration is done using the shared window system, as seen in the top figure, which can be viewed and interacted by anyone. Personal settings for each user can be accessed through their own personal menu, which only they can view and interact with. Objects are composited into the real world by taking account of real world lighting. We render a virtual representation of the scene using planes representing the floor, walls, and ceiling to catch shadows. And the 360 video is also used to provide ambient high frequency lighting and ambient lighting. The same setup is used for both the AR and VR views to provide similar levels of visual quality for both users. Our system runs at a frame rate of 90 Hz, which is the optimal frame rate for most VR headsets. We also tested 360 cameras and chose to use the Insta360 Pro 2, which provided 1.2 seconds of latency when viewed by the VR traveler. In this video, we are demonstrating the system in use after the system has already been calibrated. Here, the VR traveler has connected to the MRC space, where the AR host is co-located with the 360 camera. The users in this video are able to use the spatial awareness provided through the 360 camera and the AR headset and face-to-face interactions to collaborate on an interior design task. Other applications that can benefit from the face-to-face interactions and spatial awareness of the AVT system include, such as in this case, remotely assisting and guiding people to perform tasks, training people to perform tasks or to use equipment by rendering virtual replicas of that equipment in the MRC space, and remotely presenting to people. These applications all benefit from the sense of co-presence and spatial presence. I'll now pass over to Daniel to discuss how we evaluated the system for presence.
Hello, everybody. So due to the asymmetric nature of the system, both VR traveler and our host conditions, we need to ensure like equivalent levels of presence between them. In AVT, the VR traveler is not physically at the collaboration space, and therefore the presence could be limited by the fidelity of the remote MRC space. But co-presence might be higher than the AR host, since VR traveler see a real person in the 360 video. The AR host is physically at the collaboration space, and therefore the presence will be surely high, but co-presence might be limited due to the abstract avatar of the VR traveler. So even though this difference, we still argue that our system guarantees that both users should both present and co-presence with a high level of both senses and this asymmetric space. So to ensure that, we designed a user study in order to make sure that both VR travelers and AR hosts have equivalent high levels of social and spatial presence. To evaluate our system, we performed this user study with 40 participants with ages varied from 20 to 35 years, and most of them did not have experience with AR or VR setups. We used 3 different metrics to evaluate our system, which include social presence, which measures how people feel together in the same environment. And in this measure, we chose 3 of their submeasures: co-presence, with the feeling of being co-located in the same space, attentional allocation, which is the amount of attention one gives to the other, and perceived message understanding, which measures how people understand the message being given. The spatial presence deal with how people feel to be especially present in a location. It is related to the concept of being there, also known as presence. For us to use a study, we focus on two dimensions of spatial presence, which is the sense of location, which is the feeling of being physically located in a safe environment, and spatial situational model, which relates to how people process spatial cues and interpret them related to the space. We also included an additional 7 Likert scale questionnaires to include aspects not covered by the above 2 questionnaires. These questions included aspects such as task easiness, communication, and collaboration. The study was conducted in uncontrolled environments in 2 physical separated rooms, and we first introduced the objectives, then the users did a pre-test questionnaire, they did the training scenario, then performed the main task, then answered the post-test questionnaire, and finally conducted a semi-structured interview according to collect their subjective opinions. So in the training tasks, users were asked to freely place objects in the MRC space. In this task, they could select between different objects to furnish the MRC space in order to get acquainted with the system for a maximum period of 20 minutes. In the main task, one user was asked to place shapes in the environment and was guided by the other who had a blueprint where the objects should be placed. This blueprint was generated randomly and indicated where the object should be placed. And after its completion, the roles were switched. So to test for statistical significance, we used the Mann-Whitney U test for between groups comparisons between the AR and VR users. Then we used the additional 2 one-sided parity tests, also called TOS test, to test for equivalence between the 2 groups. Regarding social presence, we found no statistical significance in the co-presence measure, and symbol were statistically equivalent in all subscales and were high in the subscales, including co-presence, attention allocation, and perceived message understanding. This was also noticed in spatial presence in both self-location and spatial situational model, where both had a high level of these measures. The results of the questionnaires show us that both users found it easy to understand, people using pointing cues, communicate using voice, creating, selecting, and moving objects around in both tasks, and collaborate with the partners in both setups. We also can showcase some limitations in our system. The first of them is latency, which is still high for remote telepresence, which is 1.2 seconds, but we can say people still consider it an enjoyable experience, and they can really feel they were there together in the same room and were able to collaborate with the partner. So we hope that future technology will improve on this by balancing both latency and visual quality. The avatar representation of the VR traveler is an abstract outline of a person, which may limit more expressive scenarios that require richer body language, but we will include more richer avatars in future iterations. Our setup is based on a static 360 camera, capturing monoscopic 360 video, and which may still be limiting for some scenarios where people need to move around. However, the current hardware technology still do not provide fully walkable high-fidelity 360 live scenes. So in conclusion, we presented the first unified and cost-effective system which meets requirements for remote workspace collaboration, remote situational awareness, face-to-face mutual live collaboration, and a high-fidelity MRC space which converges AR and VR to enable efficient remote collaboration in a high-fidelity space by ensuring high level of social and spatial presence for both users. With AVT, why do you need an airport when you can teleport? So with that, I conclude my talk, and I thank you everybody that's listening from all over the world. Thank you. I think it's good now.